Mythos by Anthropic is finally here, and in this video I'm going to give you my first impressions and first benchmarks that I did. Of course, there's more testing coming along the way. Those are very first impressions since yesterday. There's going to be much more testing because we need to understand the model better, but it looks very promising. It's definitely slightly better than GPT-5.5 Pro. A little bit better, but it's very hard to pinpoint its strengths and weaknesses as of now. It makes a little bit bolder claims than what Opus was doing. Overall, I don't think this is as groundbreaking as the marketing was saying. It's still a very, very good model. It's also extremely expensive. So first of all, I'm going to give you an overlook at what's happening here. So Fable is the name for what you can access. Basically, Fable is a version of Mythos that is guardrailed with additional things. Like, for example, the model won't be able to give you things about, for example, accelerating AI research, which is pretty interesting direction. So this is the breaking news. Anthropic's latest model will not help you if it thinks your ML research, ML engineering is interesting, and or will secretly degrade its IQ so that the average engineer won't notice. So this is kind of the filtering on the effectiveness. I don't know if this kind of filtering also works in mathematics. This is what I'm testing. So far, especially through Claude, it seems to be working okay. I didn't have much success going through claude.ai interface because, as you remember, for GPT, the GPT-5.5 Pro in ChatGPT interface is better than what you're getting with GPT-5.5 xhigh effort through Codex. So I wanted to test the same thing here. Couldn't really make Claude Fable 5 anything useful yet. It keeps getting me that I got over the quota of the token, so there's still a lot of testing to be done here. However, it's definitely doing okay, and with the first test I did with the Erdős bench, so this is the bench that we've just introduced at Ulam AI yesterday. I'm going to talk about it in a moment, but on this bench, it's already on par with Codex and basically also slightly better than Codex in certain places. It's not like groundbreakingly better. Those are small improvements. So this bench is basically 226 problems. Most of them are open or haven't been seen before. We have this based on Paul Erdős problems, and those are different variants of those problems that we use for testing. Now, I did the test on the 14 smoke problems that all of you can access through basically the GitHub link will be down below. You can go to docs and you can also read the paper here. Here in the original paper, you have the comparison between Opus and GPT-5.5 Pro. And basically GPT-5.5 Pro managed to solve 4 out of 14 problems in the smoke test. Those problems are also at the end. Opus managed to solve 1 problem and give partial results for the rest. And Fable or Mythos actually also solved 4 problems and just give slightly better partial results in the other problems. So it's very close to GPT-5.5 Pro. It's the same 4 problems that it solved, so it's not like different even problems. It solved exactly the same problems that GPT-5.5 Pro did, and those problems are basically problems 1, 4, 5, and 7. So it didn't solve any other problem than that, so that's already interesting. Another thing is, in the other places, it basically gave you stronger bounce, but I'm also a little bit cautious here because I think Fable fought for much longer than Codex did, and maybe if I were to run Codex another time and let it think for longer, maybe it would get the same or better results. So this is very close on the on this scale. It's attacking basically the same kind of problems that Codex did. So it's already interesting. However, it's also nice to compare because you find it, for example, approaching those problems. You can compare how it approaches it, how is it similar or not. The full test on 200 problems would give you a very clear indications of which model is better and what that model is doing better than the other. So for example, one might be better at, for example, finding obscure arguments in literature, getting that and using it at the particular problem. Another might be better at finding new constructions. I would expect Codex is better on that, and GPT-5.5 at, you know, doing this kind of constructions for counterexamples. But it's a lot of testing that needs to be done. So coming back to what Anthropic is claiming here with Fable, it's of course state of the art. Seems to be fine. They compared that to GPT-5.5 Pro and you know, all the standard benchmarks, of course, this is better. They wouldn't otherwise release the model. The only thing I think that do they have anything that... No, I think like they try to compare everything here. They don't really have any kind of mathematical or reasoning tests apart from the standard ones, but they didn't do anything like frontier math here or other benchmarks. So they're releasing that. So Fable is, as I have mentioned, Fable is Mythos, but with additional safeguards. You can access that. You can access that also through the subscription, and they plan to keep it out of subscription after, I think, like in 14 days or something. So if you want to test it extensively, basically for cheap, you should do that right now. Otherwise, it's going to be gone pretty much soon. So this is the release of the model. I think it's very interesting. This safe guardrails, I mean, to some extent, maybe I can understand that because they don't want competitors to be trained on the data coming from the model. But I think it's only the matter of time that for example, open source models will be at this direction. GPT doesn't do that. I think in general, so far, I still prefer probably GPT. I use GPT daily. I have, of course, I use Opus as well a lot. Now also Fable. I'm going to test that extensively on especially open math problems like Erdős problems, but also a couple of others and see how it goes. It might be interesting in the end. We're going to see. I mean, we're definitely in a spot where there needs to be done a lot of testing to compare these models. Usually you can do that with a simple test. Those tests, especially those more complicated ones, have to run for days or even weeks to really get all the strengths and weaknesses. And we're only going to see all the applications coming out right now because people really have access to the model right now, so they can test it on interesting stuff. And I'm particularly interested in, like, you know, general reasoning, math reasoning, and testing that on open problems to see how well it performs as a researcher. First test indicates that actually, if it's really as good as GPT or even stronger, it's already something, because Opus and previous Anthropic models were really bad at mathematics, and it claimed a lot of... I've never used actually, so I tried to use, for example, Opus a lot on Erdős problems, never got anywhere, and I haven't seen actually Anthropic solving any kind of open problem, open mathematical problem. They of course are really well and concentrated on coding, which is understandable that they don't focus on mathematics, but I think as they want to go higher and boost their reasoning, the reasoning of their models, they need to get at least some kind of mathematical thinking better. And it seems like they did, and especially with Fable or Mythos, the model is performing already pretty well on the mathematical stuff, and it will take time to gauge how well it performs, and for example, whether there will be any new striking results. I know there's a guy on Twitter that also claimed that, you know, the Mythos model actually was able to solve the same unit distance problem that OpenAI famously solved. So that was one of the hardest Erdős problems, and he did it independently. Maybe that's possible. I believe in that result right now. Again, but this is basically matching GPT-5.5 strength. It's not like, you know, something groundbreakingly new, or like this is not opening like a new direction. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to test that a lot. Of course, again, I'm not testing here coding really. I expect that this model excels at coding, and especially cybersecurity, reverse engineering and stuff like that. Though it's really a pity that they start limiting, like, for example, ML research. But yeah, we're going to see how it goes. So far, so good. Really excited about that. Let me know in the comments what kind of models you're using, or have you tested Fable or Mythos yet, and what are your impressions. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.